Hello everyone, here with MangoTownMatt, playing Shakti. This is our second time streaming it. We played it one time after our first time streaming it, and we learned a lot, or at least I did. Because the first time we streamed it, I was mistaken on some of the rules. So, mostly these guys can only move one or two cells. Or like blocks, I guess. Cells, I guess I'll call them. But throughout the game, these cells get taken off. So one can become leaping over the board because if, say, like three cells next to each other are taken off, then you can jump over all three of them and land on the next one.
Can I clarify that a little bit?
Yes.
So if Travis's piece were to move from B1 to B4, then B3 would
B2 to B4. Sorry.
B2 to B4, yeah. If Travis's piece moved from B2 to B4, B3 would disappear, which means that Travis's piece could move B4 to B2, and it would count as moving one square. Mm-hmm. So as you make the different cells disappear, it makes some pretty interesting conundrums.
So there's the middle one's the king, and you can move two away, but you cannot attack two away. And
yep.
The king can only move to adjacent squares when it's in check. And apparently this is like one of the smallest chess games that is like actually, I don't know what did it say? I'll just read it. It says, "This is without a doubt the smallest chess game with a non-trivial strategy." So you got that for you. Let's test it out. I still think I'm pretty bad at this. At least out of the chess games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that given that this is the third time that we're playing it, you're definitely bound to do better than we've done in the past.
I hope so. So that square disappears. The last game we played that wasn't streamed, it was a much longer game than most of them. Because we figured out the king could escape a little easier. So when I first played it, when I first streamed, I'm pretty sure I just thought these were like blank squares. So like, they, like you couldn't move through them, or like the game Amazons, where like the square is blocked and you cannot move through it or in it, as in the board just continues to get smaller. The board does get smaller, but it's slightly different.
So what's been going on in the world, Travis?
Is it only?
You can't.
Okay, that's
check on your first move, but you can check on your second. So for those of you watching, when my piece was on D4, and his king is on D2, it does not count as him being in check.
Okay, do you remember the rules of capturing?
I think you can only capture with your king, and you can only capture from one square away. Which I think makes the end game a little more complicated than
the attacking opponent's warrior can be captured by the player's king if doing so does not put the king in check.
Oh, really?
That happened on one of the games we played, where I just got one of my warriors taken, and
yeah, that ends it pretty quickly.
And I couldn't do anything else really.
But if I remember correctly,
so I think my guy on B4 should be guarding. If you're
but also it's interesting why, like, you're currently in check right now, aren't you? It doesn't have to be one away.
You can't attack two moves away. A warrior can make two kinds of moves. A warrior may move to the first unoccupied tile in any of the 8 directions shown in the picture. Both tiles are vacant. A warrior may jump the first tile in any of the 8 directions and the second tile in the same direction. So move. Yeah, okay. So we do that. That makes my
Oh. So I think I might have figured out a way to bring Gigi to China without her having to be quarantined.
That's good.
Yeah, so like instead of her having to go to like cat prison for 30 days, it's just like I give them all these like documents that I've prepared, and then an additional statement saying like, yeah, she's an indoor cat. And they're like, oh, great. Check, please. So I have an interesting dilemma for you, Travis. Not really a dilemma for either of us.
Okay.
But something I'm curious about. So both in the UK and in the US within like the last week, there have been multiple women who basically they went to join ISIS, and then at a certain point were like, we didn't realize this was a bad idea. And so like they're like, we got brainwashed, please let us come back. So there are a couple of interesting things, because I've been thinking about this a little bit, because the UK and the US's responses have been very different. The UK basically like doesn't want to help this girl who left. The US helped the girl get out. I think they brought her back, if I'm not mistaken. The girl from the US like walked and made her way to Kurdish forces, and so that like changed. She's like out of there, and she's like spoken out. I don't think the girl from the UK has been particularly like remorseful about it. I think she's just like, look, I lost my husband, I've lost multiple children to like preventable deaths, and now I'm pregnant again. I think the girl from the US has been a little more remorseful. But the thing that's interesting to me is like, should we like what do you think that the general procedures for this should be? Because I feel like one thing that we're running into is this like difference of outcome, right? Like if it was a male who had like gone to join ISIS of his own free will, and then had been like, I changed my mind. These dudes are assholes. I'm coming home. Like he'd just be tried as a terrorist. I think the U.S. might still try this woman as a terrorist. So if they do that, I mean that's pretty much. I mean I think that's realistically how it should be handled.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be some thought given to grooming, but
I don't know how much brainwashing is used as like can be used as offense. Because I mean, I'm sure it is, but I don't know like what the proper legal definition of brainwashing would
entail. Or how you prove.
Yeah, how can you say? I mean, because almost what's the difference between brainwashing? Well, I guess there's a big difference, but like the difference between brainwashing and convincing. I mean, like,
yeah, I guess brainwashing just seems like a more convenient cover in some sense.
I mean, it could be like more violent and cult-like and stuff, but
I feel like to say that you're convinced suggests some degree of understanding of the situation. Whereas with brainwashing, you don't necessarily see that.
Ooh.
Ooh. Man, I started learning some Mandarin today. I'll tell you what, tonal languages are hard. Just because it's like there are a lot of sounds. Like with Bosnian, I know how to make all the sounds in Bosnian as an English speaker. Okay. With Mandarin, there are a lot of sounds that are like. I guess I would compare it kind of like in music you have tones, and then you have microtones.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, microtones, like. So I feel like probably once I get all those sounds down, it'd be a little bit easier. But man, the other thing I don't know is because it's a tonal language. Like this woman, when she's teaching it, I'm going through like a lecture series with a professor from a Chinese university. It's just like she'll say the pitches at like particular intervals, and I'm always like, do I need to say it at the exact same pitch that she's saying it?
I know there are languages like that, but
the three-peat rule with this.
I don't think so, but I'll move somewhere else if you go the same. Fine.
You know what Gigi's new favorite toy is?
What?
Not exactly new, but skewers. Like the wooden ones you would use to make... what are ones you would use to make kebabs or something?
Watson really likes the plastic ties on like bread loaves and stuff.
Aha! I haven't even tried those yet.
Like little worms.
Gigi's finally out of heat. It's really nice. I will say though, when she was in heat, she was pretty nice. She wouldn't bite or anything. So if I regret her not being in heat for one reason, it would be that. Don't miss the yowling though, man.
If only Watson could have babies.
Yo, Watson and Gigi's babies would be real sweet. It'd also be really interesting because Gigi's brothers, Gigi and her sister were both black, but her brothers both looked kind of like Bandit.
Yeah, I mean, those are pretty common.
Yeah, totally. But it'd be interesting to see what would happen if you took Gigi and her genes and Watson and his genes and then combined them.
I'd really like a black and gray cat.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Or I'd prefer if I have a choice for next cat, it'd probably be all gray.
Like Russian blue.
Yeah.
Cool.
But if I'd also rather get like say if you or Mike were getting a cat, I'd rather get like a cat in the same litter.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Though what's interesting is I think that cats forget about their siblings really, really quickly. So what would be interesting is that unless we were living together, like, it's kind of one of those things.
Do you think they could like still smell that they're their relative or something like that, or
That's the thing that I'm not sure about. Is like,
like
I
so?
don't know how quickly they forget. So it's crazy to think that like we could have two cats who like hang out a bunch when they're little, and then like go to their separate houses, and then like every once in a while meet up. We might like completely forget that they're related.
Well, I wonder if like being able to know if they're related like helps. Uh, like inbreeding in the species. Like I would think
Yeah.
you need some sort of mechanism to know. Like that could be the case with dog, or maybe not. I don't know. I haven't looked. I guess I haven't.
Well, I know. Phoebe, my family dog, and our neighbor's dog are both from the same litter. And so one thing that's interesting is like to see what kind of issues they have. Oh, nice. Yeah, that was a dumb move on my part. So like some of the issues that they have are really similar, and I think they both go to the same vet. So I think it's really interesting for them too to see what kind of stuff has become more and more of an issue. Because, for example, I mean, like other things are interesting too to see how like different environmental factors affect them. Like my Phoebe's sister gets left at home alone a lot, so she's developed like pretty bad anxiety. Whereas like Phoebe doesn't really care. I mean, Phoebe can kind of tell like if I'm packing up to get ready to leave. She'll like spend a lot of time around like my suitcases and stuff, and she'll like pant a little more than usual.
Oh, so it says my king's in check. Was that the same for you last game?
No, it wasn't. I'm surprised that it said that because I thought you weren't allowed to check on the first move.
Yeah,
I thought it wasn't considered a check on the first move.
Oh, well, maybe I couldn't move my right one because it said I was in check.
Oh, weird.
But I moved my left.
You know what? I think it would be because if you were to B6 to D4, then you put your king in check.
Oh, because it made me move one away.
Yeah.
Ah, gotcha.
The other thing I really like about Shakti is I feel like it would be pretty easy to play Shakti without a board and without like if you had some rocks and some dirt.
Yeah. Ah, I kept making these mistakes. Okay. So I can't move.
I think it's too early in the game to even think that way.
Well, I thought I moved there and I was like, he can't move there because I could just take him. But I kept because it's two away, but it's actually one away because of the blank square.
Yeah.
We need to figure out a way with rocks to like make sure maybe leaves to like blank the squares. I don't know.
You could always put a leaf on the square to blank it. That'd be sweet. Oh.
The king is in check.
Your king or my king?
Oh, so king.
I don't think your king.
So I can't move to E3 with my C3 because then that would leave no space between me and your king.
We can move to E3 from
with
C3 because then it would leave no space.
because that would take out it would take out D3.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Ooh, Alma and I have been watching. What show is it? You look and find out. We've been watching the show on Netflix about a guy who looks at comedy in like war zones and with soldiers. Really good. It's called Larry Charles' Dangerous World of Comedy. It's just 4 episodes, but 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Very interesting.
Stuart Lee did a like an hour-long BBC documentary on the Pueblo clowns.
Oh, cool.
And it was just like, it's like these ceremonious clowns that like relentlessly mock people. And and like they do it as like, so the whole town doesn't, I mean, I guess he goes into it, but
oh, you know what? I think you would have sent that to me before. Don't they do it so like that the whole town doesn't like it kind of like is like a dispersing of any social qualms.
yeah.
Yeah. Make clowns great again. It's so interesting to think that we grew up with this idea of a particular to circuses when they're not really.
So do you know what me and Mike found out?
What?
So whenever, I mean, we could look up the year and find out what age we were, but we were at the same circus when it was like when we were really young, because like it was like a somewhat odd event as a kid, but the tightrope walker in our hometown fell off the tightrope and died.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I wasn't there for that, but I kind of wish that I was, because that sounds pretty crazy.
I remember it happening, and I have it visually, but I didn't like. And I remember them taking off an ambulance, but they didn't like announce that he died, like in the circus and everything. They kind of just like took him off an ambulance, and the show kept going.
Oof.
So, like I didn't realize that until I saw like an article about that event or something.
Yeah, that's brutal.
But Mike was at that one as well.
Yeah, that would be so crazy to have to like continue with the show, even though like one of your co-performers might be like definitely dead. I mean, like I can't imagine that anybody. Great, nice. You gotta stay away from that back row, man.
Yeah, you want to do one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the most I've gotten on you, I think.
Yeah, it is. Knowing how to play the game helps, though. So.
Definitely. I feel like I've done this before. Go this way. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I should have done that last time. Check it. Maybe. I don't know. Figure it out. Yeah, okay. Makes sense. Same move as last time you had. The being D2 is what I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that these patterns keep. I guess the pattern.
Yeah, that's. I was thinking openings would be like if there is opening theory, openings would be pretty similar.
Yeah.
But then I think it would just get more complex. Like, because I mean, I'm guessing it is more of a complex game. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's too simple. I mean,
people just solved it online already. No, actually, I couldn't find any. I mean, I could have typed in. It could be called something different, but at least typing in like Shakti board game or Shakti, I haven't been able to find.
Yeah. It'd also be interesting to play a variant of Shakti though, where like you had different types of pieces besides like where for example you have two kings and then two pieces that move more similar to the way that knights move.
Mm-hmm.
We should try that out. That could be interesting. You might have to modify board size, but that could be pretty.
Well, I mean, we'd have to do it on some sort of like board editor sandbox type thing.
Yeah, that's true. So basically, if I don't move to B7, I lose.
I don't know if that's the case because B7 is pretty bad as well.
Yeah, B7 is not great. The problem though is that if I don't move my king away from A6, you can just move D6 to B6, which means I lose.
Yeah, if I go to if I go to B6, it would checkmate B7 as well.
Yeah, exactly. But if I go to B7 and you go to B6, I can still get out of it.
How?
See, if I go from A6 to B7.
And I'm at B6. That's still the same. That's almost still the same.
If you move to B6 with C5, though, I take you. If
you
move to B6
with
D6, then I can move to C6. I guess it's just stretching it out.
I don't think you can move to C6 because that'd be right next to two of mine, right?
Not if you move D6 first. Because if you don't move D6 first, then you lose a piece. This conversation must be really difficult for people who can't do coordinates.
So I'm gonna move. So say I move D6 to. Oh, you know what? I actually could. I actually couldn't move. Okay. Well, I'll help you out here. If you move to B7, I cannot move D6 to B6 because that would leave nothing between our kings. I might be able to.
Oh, that's true.
I can move to C6, and that would put you in check.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not going to just leave my king at B6 though, because then it's a one-move loss.
Okay. So then I shouldn't be able to move to C6. That'll prevent me. Yeah. Okay. So I can move to C6, and that'll still be check. I think it's still there. C6, and then you have to move back, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is basically game over.
I think so. I wonder. I kind of want to go back and see if there's
Yeah, I
another
almost
way.
wish we could. Is there any way for us to do that?
Yeah, we can do a take back.
I think I may have figured out one thing.
You have to click on the move on the right hand side where the blue arrow is, and then above that there's like a half circle arrow.
Okay, cool. This is the one I want.
Click here, choose whether to accept. Okay, so we need to do one more. All right.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Oh, we need to undo one more move.
Oh, okay, the one before that.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. So I really don't know. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, I guess we can figure it out now.
Okay, cool. I think the one thing that I might be able to do would be this.
Yep. Seems to do good.
I don't know why I didn't even think about that before. I was just focused on getting in at your.
All right. Let's keep going. So now I'm at least blocking your king from everywhere except B7, but it's going to be difficult.
I'll be interested to see if I'm able to maneuver my way out of this corner.
I'll be interested to see if I can get you out of the corner.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think if you don't checkmate me, I'll slip right out.
Well, I can continue checking like this, but I don't see how I can get... Yeah, I need to figure out how I can get both of them.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I need to... Go. Ooh. You let me do it. I think. Oh no, my king's in check. Oh.
Yes, he is.
You didn't let me do it. Where can I move?
Pretty much anywhere. You have a pretty open board right now.
Yeah, but I want to avoid checks.
Yeah, totally. I almost wonder if it would have been a smarter idea to have gone d6 to c6 as opposed to b6 to c6.
No.
He thought it was gonna be so easy, did
I'm gonna check. Oh, I can't go there. Okay.
Did you say you're in check?
No, I couldn't move to a square because I was trying to move up to F3, but again,
Yeah.
I did not see that was the case.
Oh. Sneaky, sneaky Travis. wonder if anybody's ever cleared away like the entire middle of the board.
I think I got you. Yes, that's it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I guess probably I should have moved e7 to b4 to prevent that.
E7. You said E7 to B4?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's good. We're definitely going to have to.
Yeah, I enjoy the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. Shakti, playing IG Game Center. Play us if you want to. Play your friends. Play random people on the internet. Thanks for watching.
Bye.